Hi all, and welcome back to another deep dive into AWS Landing Zone Accelerator. Today we're going to look at a bit more advanced networking components. So in a previous video, if you've watched it, you would have seen that we created some subnets, some VPCs with subnets and the like for a couple of accounts. That's fine if you're going to do a shared VPC model. You can individually create those and deploy them using LZA. But if you want to do a VPC per account type model, then that can obviously get quite hard to manage if you're building individual or putting in configuration for individual VPCs. So what we're going to do today is learn how to use VPC templates and also the AWS IPAM service to manage and automatically assign subnets. So let's get into it. So here we are in our network configuration file, and as we can see here, these are the two VPCs that we manually deployed earlier, one for the deployment account, development account, and one for the shared services account. So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and delete those. By removing them from the config, these will, when I run the pipeline again, actually delete them from the accounts. So that's fine. So we can select these and we can delete them. Okay, now with those deleted, we can go ahead and the first thing we'll do is configure our IPAM service. So we need to create a new category called the Central Network Services. And now within here, we can start to configure the IPAM service. Okay, so here's some configuration. So we need to specify the name of the pool. So let's call it the Accelerator IPAM. Region, AP Southeast 2, description, Accelerator IPAM. Now we can configured the service. Now we can go and configure some IP pools. For the first one we want to do is create the base pool. So we'll just give this one a name as well. Description. Now we want to provide a CIDR range for our IP pool. So we'll just use, let's say, 10.0.0.20. Now we're going to specify the organizational units that we want to allow to have access to this pool. I'll just change that to 1. So we want to just create a VPC at the moment for the development and shared services accounts. So we'll just grab the development and shared services, name organizational units. And we'll pop those in there, tidy up the tabbing. Cool, so now we can now create a regional pool, which pulls data from the base pool. So again, we'll just keep it the same because we're only doing one region. So you can specify one large pool and then split it up into regional pools from there. But we're just going to have the same pool for both the base and the region. Specify that. Okay. So we'll just use the same pool as I mentioned. Okay, so we're using that, and then the same subnet range or IP range. Source pool is going to be accelerator based pool. We want to use the same organizational units, so that's fine, and we won't worry about any tags. Okay, so that's all good. So now we can go and save it, and then we can add a comment, create IPAM pull, and then we'll commit that, and then we'll go launch our pipeline and deploy that. So we should be getting rid of our old VPCs and deploying the IPAM pull. So the pipeline's now finished running. So if we go into our shared services account quickly, or development account, we can see here, if we come into the network account, and we can see here, so in the networking account, here is our IPAM that's been created. We've got our resource siders, we've got our managed siders, and we've got our scopes. This has all been created. So now, when we start to deploy the VPC template, we can set up the template to reach out to the IPAM service and get the next freely available IP range to deploy to the template. So we don't have to manually give the templates their own IP range. They can get that automatically. Okay, so now we can go ahead and create our VPC templates, or template. So basically here we'll be using the same template or the same VPC configuration for our shared services and development accounts. So that means we only need to create one template. So if we go into below the IPAM, and now we can start to add the configuration details for our template. So again, we'll call it, the name of the VPC is going to be Accelerator Template. We're going to call this, put this in AP Southeast 2. Again, we're going to specify our deployment targets being the shared services and development OUs. Great. So we're going to just do a fairly basic VPC deployment for the purposes of this demonstration. So we are going to deploy a private and a public subnet, and we'll specify a fairly small CIDR range for each subnet. So this is where we're now going to call the IPAM service to be able to grab the next free IP range. So we want to grab the regional one and we'll call that there. So that's now going to call, specify the pool that we want to pull the IP addresses from. We're just going to use a subnet length of 25. We'll just keep it small for this demo. Now we can start to create our subnets and route tables. So add a few more of the standard configuration VPC items that we had in the previous VPCs as well. And now the route tables. So the route tables will be fairly straightforward. Obviously, if you were using this for alongside a transit gateway deployment, you can specify all your transit gateway routes and your transit gateway subnets and the like in this template as well. But we're just going to keep it nice and simple for the purposes of this demo. Okay, so as you can see, we've configured some subnets in availability zone A and availability zone B. We have some route tables, and they're both fairly small IP ranges. So now again, we can go and save that config file, commit it to code commit, and trigger the pipeline, and then we can go and deploy it. And hopefully we'll see some newly created VPCs. So you can see this is going to create multiple VPCs for us in multiple accounts, and the configuration is a lot simpler and a lot tidier using templates rather than individually using these configuration files to do a VPC for each account. So that's fine. We'll go and save that, and then we'll commit it. Okay, so the pipeline's now finished successfully. So now if we jump across to our development account. Okay, once this loads, if we have a look in our VPCs, we should see there's two VPCs now. One being the control tower one, and one being, there you go, so there's our accelerator template VPC. And as you can see, it's deployed our two subnets in availability zone A and B, and we've got some route tables. And if we go to the shared services account, we should see in VPC that it's deployed one there as well. And yep, we've got two VPCs now. And there we go, we've got our accelerator template, and as you can see, it's grabbed a different IP range than the development one, and that's the IPAM service managing that. So if we jump across to the networking account again, we can see that the IPAM service should have served out or carved out some ranges for those two VPCs. And there you go, you can see that we've got 4 subnets have been deployed, and it's all been configured. So as you can see, that's a lot neater and a lot easier than doing multiple VPC configurations. So that's how you'd go about configuring a VPC per account. It's a lot easier, especially when you start to multiply your accounts. So I hope you found that useful, and I will see you in the next one.